Hello, everyone. Today is August 16th. This is the Code Organization as a project under SIG Architecture. Let me share my screen. Okay, so James, I know you added you were talking about some of the dependencies that were added with klog v2 on Slack. I'm not sure if you want to add that to the agenda, but I can talk about something that was discussed in our last call around staging the EDV testing framework. And so followed up with George and Aaron from SIG testing, and George took the initiative to put together a draft cap. So it's still work in progress, but I think it articulates some of the motivations for why we want to do this. And so I think we're aiming to get that kept in for 119. George, do you want to talk about it a bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Andrew mentioned, this is the first final draft of what I'm thinking, the work that is needed to eventually move the end-to-end test framework and its packages into staging, more than anything to improve the user experience and maintainability of that area of Kubernetes. And at least one particular thing that I feel I should mention out of the from the beginning about that gap is that I'm envisioning the first step, again, just thinking about 119, will be to just plan refactoring and code organization around the end-to-end test framework and its packages to eventually prepare it. To eventually move it on to staging. So I didn't make any explicit mention of how to create a new repo, publish it, or anything. Just some guidelines that I'm thinking are reasonable, and some of the things that we are some of the ideas and designs that we've been throwing around in testing commons to try to decouple the test framework from internal Kubernetes packages and from the rest of the code that is used to run end-to-end test.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, so I think next steps are get SIG testing approval for this for 119. But yeah, wanted to make sure that this came up here as well because related to code organization, and I know some folks had concerns about this before. Cool. All right, so if there's no questions on that one, we'll go to the next item. A Dockerless cap is closer to getting merged. James, is this you?
Yeah, both are mine. So we made progress on the Dockerless cap. Derek did a review, and Matt reworded some of the things. So hopefully it should get merged, if not this week, next week. And the PR really looks good as well. There are some follow-up items from the PR in terms of testing and how we could make sure that we don't break the functionality that we are adding there and things like that. So we'll be able to work through that in subsequent PRs. So at least the first PR is ready to be merged. So that's the update on that. Now, the harder problem is the next one, which is structured logging. So structured logging needed some new methods to be added in klog. So we added it in v2 API because we didn't want to pollute the v1, and also we had already cut over to v2 because of some additional different method signature changes that we had from before for supporting logger pluggable logging stuff. So where we are is we have a PR that we are iterating. They were, can you click on the fixes, please. Fixes issue. Yeah, that one. So we were looking at what are the Kubernetes dependencies that need to be updated with klog v2, because we can't update KK to klog v2 and leave the vendor libraries at klog v1. So we went through that exercise, and there were 5-6 repositories that we needed to change, and all those changes are in Django, utils, Kube Open API, cAdvisor, Kate Cloud Provider, and yeah, the network proxy one. So we worked through all those dependencies, and all of them have been updated to klog v2. Some of these we've never made any releases, including utils, so they are all SHAs at this point. So we're going to leave it that way at this point. But the next step is to run scalability tests. If people remember, last time we had trouble with klog with something. I think it was images. Yeah, we were updating the way we were building images, and I think we had trouble with klog there. So we are running scalability tests, hopefully tomorrow. And then when that is done, we have, let's go back to the PR. We need reviews for each of the vendor dependency from different SIGs. I'm not too sure if I got all the assignments right, which dependency for which SIGs. So if you have any tweaks there, let me know. I can go make those tweaks. But the more important thing is we are again pulling a bunch of new dependencies that we didn't have before. So if you look at the go some files, they get blown up again. There's at least.
Do we know where those are coming from? Are they via particular things, or is it just a lot via everything?
Viper brings in a couple that we hadn't seen before. So can you go back to previous? We'll come back to this one. So the Viper one brings in the Subositu and Atomic and INI, I think. That was one thing that was major. And the Kate's Cloud Provider brings in the gax.go, gax-go. So that's new. Honef we had before. Yeah, the Open Census IO trace. I don't think we had that before. That and GoLogger gets pulled because we are pulling in klog v2. So as a net, we are adding about 100,000 lines of code, I think. So if you look at the diff between how many lines got added and how many lines got deleted, it's about 100,000, I think. So that's where we are right now. At least the PR itself is clean. All the CI jobs are working. The verify a couple of failures, and I can fix that anytime. So there is no issue as such, other than we need reviews and we are taking in more dependencies.
So I remember when we had the klog scale issues, we had talked about adding scalability tests in the klog repo. Did that not get done?
I think that got added, but the problem here was we were trying to do distroless containers, right? That's where we landed up in trouble.
Well, sure, but I thought we had said, like, the pattern of making changes in klog that cause scale problems that we don't have test coverage for, and then cutting releases, and then bringing klog versions into Kubernetes, and then doing scale tests in Kubernetes is not workable. I thought we had said that we needed to have tests in Klog that would exercise the paths that regressed in the distroless environment.
The problem is we don't know what regressed in distroless, and we still haven't merged the distroless PR and KK. So nobody has been able to dig into it because the regression only happens in the scalability jobs, and we can't run them often enough, and we just ran them by hand once, and then we kind of gave up and reverted. That we patched, reverted a few times. But
to me, root causing that and driving the issue back to Klog seems like a blocker for, like, if Klog has made changes that we know caused regressions that haven't been root caused and we don't have coverage for in Klog, that seems really fundamental. Like, I don't see how we can continue developing Klog with this unresolved.
The thing is, updating Klog doesn't affect the scalability tests. Switching to distroless container does. So there is something going on screwy there, which we haven't been able to figure out. So
okay, I thought I remembered reverting things in Klog that were related to this.
Yeah, we worked through those issues. I think there were a few there, and yeah, there is a performance benchmark in Klog already. But the what we are facing in the distroless is not, what we are seeing in the benchmark per se.
Okay.
So just I remembered a few more things here. So what we were changing in the distroless was, currently what we do is with distroless, what we were going to do was we were going to add -- log file, and then capture the log file and copy it back out and save it and gzip it. That was the way. That was the way it was going to be set up, and that sequence there is some trouble there. And we haven't been able to dig into that. No,
okay.
Yeah.
And we have benchmarks around, because there's like 6 different ways you can configure Klog, right? You can send it to standard out or standard error, or like multiple places or log files, or so we have scale tests around all the different paths.
We have performance benchmarks. I'll have to go look at exactly.
Yeah, that's fine.
Which ones they test, whether it is a simple output or whether it is an output file. I have to go look at that.
Okay.
So anyway, that's the reason for running the scale benchmark, to see if we spot anything obviously bad there.
I see. Okay. If not everything has switched to Klog v2.
Yes, all the dependencies have been switched.
Oh, I thought I saw unchecked things around one of the cloud provider things.
Yeah, that one got checked yesterday.
Okay.
The last one.
Okay.
Yeah, Bowie helped me fix this one, the Kate's cloud provider.
All right. So do we know where the 100,000 lines of dependencies came from?
Yeah, that's what I was going to do today. I haven't looked at it yet. I have some scripts that generate this PR, so it's easier. But I have to go look at where exactly those lines come from.
Okay. And so this is just updating the dependencies. This is not doing any swapping around of the logger interface or anything like that. That's just switching to v2.
Just switching. Yeah, just updating the dependency. No other changes other than that, and no introduction of new methods. The only methods that are changed is enabled calling the correct methods. That's it.
Okay. If we can make this closer to a dependency neutral change, that would be ideal. Yeah, if we can track down where those came from and at least understand, so we know if we're increasing our exposure to things, or if, like, sometimes if you just bump like Golang or XSys or something, like that can bring in a ton of changes. Things like that aren't as concerning. So
Right.
just tracking down if there are new things we're depending on, or if the existing things just increased in size. That'd be helpful.
So if you look at the licenses, we are adding about 5 more licenses.
Yeah, so there's new things that we're not vendoring, so that would be stuff in GoSum. Then there's new things that we are vendoring, so that would be new licenses. And then there's increased size of existing things. So just breaking down the size so we understand where that's coming from. That'd be helpful.
Yeah, that's what I'll have to do.
All right, thanks.
I should probably write some code that looks through the patch and enumerates lines added, deleted, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, seems like the action item there is for DIMS to track down, break down the dependencies and figure out where they're coming from and try to reduce those.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, that was it for the agenda. Unless folks want to discuss anything else last minute. All right, should we end 40 minutes early then?
Yes, please.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Have a nice day, everyone.